Hi everyone, this is Richard. We get a lot of questions about your best grade in the Facebook group, so I thought I would just take a couple minutes just to briefly go over it for you guys. So Your Best Grade is essentially a platform for HESI exam studying. So as you guys may or may not know, in the pre-licensure RN program, all the nursing exams are considered HESI exams. And so Your Best Grade is a great outside resource that students can use to learn how to answer some of these HESI questions, as well as, you being used for studying and prep prior to an exam. So this is kind of the landing page after you log in. And so right here on the left-hand side, you have the HESI exit practice. So this is really just going to be used for folks who are in their final term and maybe they are getting ready for their HESI exit exam or even prior to their NCLEX. They can come in and take the 160 or 30 question exams that cover all subjects in nursing school. And then we have our specialty exams. The specialty exams are broken down by the different specialty areas that you may have in nursing school, like community health, critical care, fundamentals, geriatrics, physical assessment, so on and so forth. So with the specialty exams, they're typically 55 questions each, and they are kind of static. So once you take one of these exams, either like let's for example, we're looking at critical care, either critical care 1 or critical care 2. If you decide to take them again, you're going to get the exact same questions. So I know a lot of times students will say, hey, I'm in the specialty exams area. I'm taking an exam for a specific specialty like fundamentals, but I keep getting the exact same questions. So this is standard. You're going to always get the same questions here, and you're going to want to use the test creator, which seems to be like the bread and butter of Your Best Grade. So in the test creator, students are able to create their own exams, based on whatever topics that they want to cover. So let's say I was practicing for Castle 1 and I wanted to go over a lot of the fundamental questions. What would end up happening is I would come here and I would click on RN. I would go ahead and I would click on subject area. And what's going to happen, it's going to give you a drop down of all the different areas or subjects that you can focus on for your particular exam. So you see we have med surg, maternity, nutrition, patho. So let's just say I was looking to work on fundamentals. If I wanted to go over every single fundamental section, I would just go ahead and click on the fundamentals, and it's automatically going to click and add in all the topics that we would consider to be something that a nurse would learn or review in nursing fundamentals or that Castle 1. Or you can specifically focus on specific elements that you're looking for. But let's go ahead and click on all the fundamentals, and then you'll come on down to the question formats. So these are all the different type of question formats that you can choose. Multiple choice, select all that applies, audio, chart and exhibit, ranking, fill in the blank. Typically, for testing purposes, we are usually going to have like a multiple choice. We'll have select all that applies. Sometimes we'll have chart and exhibits or rankings and fill in the blank. So I typically just go with all formats. And then you're going to have a breakdown to your specific question mode. So you can either do all questions that are in the test bank. You can do any of the questions that you haven't seen yet. You can do the questions that you've gotten wrong previously, questions where you've added maybe a specific note to, or any questions that you flagged. So if we come in here and I just say all questions, and then you have your test mode. Your test mode can either be the time test, the exam mode, or study mode. So typically I suggest students use study mode so they can get those immediate rationales. So right after you answer a question, you will get the rationale for that particular question. So let's go ahead and do study mode. Let's do a max of, let's say, 10 questions, and we're going to call it a fundamentals test. You'll click the checkbox here, and you will click on generate test. And so the test will go ahead and generate, and while that's happening, just some other brief topics. So again, we get a lot of questions about what to study for, say, Castle 1. It would be fundamentals, all the items here. You might want to be practicing on your health assessment. So this would be a health assessment right here for physical assessment. And then for, say, Castle 2, which is just covering cardiovascular, neuro, and respiratory, it would just be those 3 topics there. And then for HESI, it would be all the remaining items, essentially. All right, so I think the test is finished generating. And then here you go. So you'll see your questions are set up here. You can add any notes that you may need on this particular, if any notes that you may have on this particular question. Say you want to then write a note and then take a screenshot and then follow up with maybe like your course instructor when you're doing a teach back session. You can write those notes there. And it also has the built-in calculator, a flag for review. And then if there's any feedback or if there's any issues, you can review them here. And so here we go, 17-year-old client with pneumonia has a respiratory rate of 28 breaths per minute, a heart rate of 100 beats per minute, and a blood pressure of 100/52. What finding warrants the most urgent intervention by the nurse? So if we're thinking about pneumonia, probably going to be that disorientation to place and time, just taking a wild guess. And so here we go. I got this one correct, and it will give you kind of the rationale or the background as to why the answer is correct. And then for every single other answer choice, it will tell you why it's not wrong. So that's why a lot of students really love it, because it gives you that breakdown. And then based on how many students have actually answered this question, it will tell you kind of like the percentage of how many have answered this correctly. But that is your best grade in a nutshell. Thank you.